Hey y'all, welcome back to the Girlfriends and Goals podcast. My name is Samaria, and I'm joined by my best friend and co-host.
Neosha.
And today we're reviewing Married at First Sight season 19, episodes 10 and 11.
Or 11 and
Oh, 11 and
12.
12. That one. So, if you are watching this season, make sure you like this video. Please subscribe
Mhm,
to our channel and meet us in the comments to let us know your thoughts because we're
mhm.
right at decision day now. Like at the end of these episodes, we're on somebody's decision day at the end of these episodes.
Do you feel like it moved too fast though?
I didn't think so. It feels like it's been about a month.
Yeah, I mean, for the sake of our lives and less television to watch, I'm
Mhm.
happy we're here, but at the same time, I feel like there was a lot of footage that maybe we could have seen to better
Um,
understand some of these couples and how they're getting from A to B.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't feel that way. You know what? I'm very happy that they cut the housewarmings. Remember they used to do
Oh yeah,
having their
pointless.
friends over and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Maybe with Belinda and Chad
Yes.
because there have been several episodes where we're like they didn't really show much about them. In this episode
Mm-mm.
there was a lot to unpack. So maybe
And
with that.
maybe we kind of know why they end up not showing as much of them.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Yeah. That would
okay.
make sense. Yeah, I'll save my comments for when we get later
Okay.
on. But see, episode 11 starts out where they're still at the retreat, and the only thing that I have down is like Brittany and Will. So I figure maybe we start with
Mm-hmm.
them. So she is still in the bathroom. Megan comes to check on her. Megan is very clutch, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Because Brittany was wondering, okay, do we have an emotional, like, I don't think I have an emotional connection with him. I don't think he has one with me. And, I just have to decide if that's enough for me, which was where we wanted her to get all
Mm-hmm.
last review. She
Yes.
finally got there, and Megan said, no, that's definitely not going to be enough.
No. And I was just hoping that she would leave it at that. You've come to this realization. You're almost at the end. I I don't want to see her in distress, but I almost kind of wanted her to stay in that mindset of, even from my position, I don't feel as strong of an emotional connection. Like, don't worry about him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you know how it is in relationships where like as soon as the other person comes around, like you don't want to be the person who's not trying. And so you kind of just like, okay, I'm gonna take it as he's giving it to me and maybe we can move forward. Like I want to applaud this couple because I think their mindset has been let's make it work. I think the only part that makes me feel uneasy is because they have not known each other.
Mm-hmm.
It maybe just feels like at this early of a stage it shouldn't take all that. Like maybe like I would expect this maybe longer into a relationship. But then
Yeah.
it is a fast track process. So I don't know if that is even a valid way to feel about them.
Yeah. I think also, I mean, I can get with understanding, okay, she doesn't want to be the one to make the decision or to not be trying. But I don't even see it as her not trying. I see it as them just not being compatible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just wanted her to stay in that thought, like, we're just not compatible. We're not each other's person.
Mm-hmm.
He's not my person. I'm not his person. That's not from a lack of trying. I see a lack of trying as um, some of these other couples, I think their situations could be lack of trying. But as far as the way they communicate, personalities,
Yeah, yeah.
they're just not each other's person.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but 15 days, what was it? 15 days to decision day. From the outside in, it seems like that would be the perfect time to come to that conclusion. But like I said, it just seems like they like each other enough that they can be convinced that this is their person for whatever reason.
And so he gets up by Megan saying, "Hey, you should go check on your your wife.
And
And
Jalen.
he says, I'm happy to be here with you. He says, you're so beautiful.
Yeah.
And
And he wants them.
and he does say that he wants them. And I think all of those things could be simultaneously true,
I think they are true.
and they still need to go their separate ways.
Especially when Brittany sees that he didn't come on his own, because it seemed like she really appreciated him getting up and coming to check on her. And I think a part of that was because she thought it was him doing it by his own volition, not that he was
Mhm.
urged to do it or encouraged to do it.
Right.
And so I think I kept thinking once she finds out he didn't come on his own, that'll probably feel less emotionally like satisfying.
Mm. But hopefully, say they had decided to still be together, they would have had a year of hopefully building a solid enough foundation that she wouldn't be re-triggered. I don't know, but it don't matter because we know how this ends. So
Do we? Like I said, with these two, I feel like they always convince each other to come back to them.
you okay? Let's not jump ahead.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so the last thing that happens at the retreat is they play this game of truth or drink,
Hmm.
and nothing really comes of it. To
I
me,
said we
that's
don't need to
no.
talk about that in great detail. It
Yeah,
seemed like fun.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So now Will and Brittany get back in bed, and he says something to the effect of, when we're at the table, I know you had Megan and Jalen getting in your head or something like that. And I was like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
think they were getting in her head. I think they were like articulating better than she can, as we've seen, what it
Yeah.
is that she's experiencing, what it is that she's thinking. But she said it was helpful to hear them because she realized, hey, I'm actually not crazy. Like the things that I'm feeling
Mm-hmm.
are valid. And I think that's something she has been battling the entire time.
I agree.
Will said when he was in high school, there was a girlfriend he had and he wasn't sending a bunch of hearts and that was a thing, but he was willing to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I just feel like this is such an uphill battle, but I do appreciate him and his
He always seems open to learning and to trying to do better. I just for where they need to be for both of them to be feel secure, it's not enough time
it's not
in this
enough.
process. Maybe they could struggle through this while dating, and even then they both probably would get worn out.
Because the
So,
incentive to stay just would not be there if they were dating.
no.
They both say, well, we haven't heard Will say it, but Brittany said, if this were a dating situation, I wouldn't
Mhm.
still be here. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, they get back home.
Mhm.
The only thing I have is Will's birthday, which I thought by then they had smoothed things over.
Mhm. One other, I don't know what scene it was. Maybe they were at home at the shared apartment where
When they
Brittany
fought.
calls out that he acts like he doesn't like people and that
Mm.
there's more to him than he lets on. And also in that moment, he was asking her how she felt and he was physically connecting with her.
Mhm.
I I wrote that down because I feel like there she wants to receive love in her love language, I think, which is words of affirmation. And I think for him, even though he hasn't said it, it's physical touch. And so I think they're missing each other because there were even later in the episodes, he's always pulling her in closer.
Mhm.
And she's always kind of like, okay, fine. That's another way in which I feel like they both need to make a big leap in order to pour into each other in the ways in
Mm.
which it would resonate the most with them.
But like you said, but like you said, he hasn't said it, and I think that makes it
He
really
hasn't said
difficult
it.
to
It's just
navigate.
from what we're seeing.
Yeah.
I think physical touch is clearly his love language.
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
for him, he'd be satisfied with not saying much, not alluding to much. He'd be comfortable in that if he could just hold you.
Mm-hmm.
But for her, okay, holding me is not enough. I need to hear you say it. Well,
Mm-hmm.
he's never going to say it or say it in the way in which you need to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Okay, so then his birthday, she plans this
oh,
nice
yeah.
surprise for him, brings his
Which is
mom
nice.
into town,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed the birthday scenes. I thought
Mm-hmm.
it was very fitting for him. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
all you can hope for a birthday. Like if I'm not a person who enjoys big parties and surprises, why why is there a parade to celebrate me right now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't do it the way I wouldn't do it for myself. And so I think it was really thoughtful and very well done. I also enjoyed
Mm-hmm.
listening to his mom talk about him because sometimes I'm like, these parents don't really have the best takes on their kids.
Mm-hmm.
But she was very accurate with her description of him. Like, this is everything we've seen.
Exactly. And I think for me, I already felt it the last set of episodes. This is just how he is. I don't think he's giving a huge switch up just for Brittany or that he's
No.
putting on an act. I think that this is genuinely how he is. His mom says William is very private. You won't always know what he's feeling. He can be really in his head. We know this, mom.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, Brittany is probably getting maybe some level of confirmation of, oh,
It's
the
not
group
him.
sees it. His mom knows it. This is just how this guy is. Not, is it just a me thing?
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, but he if he does plan on being in a long-term romantic relationship, hopefully he sees these episodes back and starts to work on those things outside of a
Mm-hmm.
marriage, you know? Because I think
Mm-hmm.
it's when you're working on it inside of a relationship, like patience is hard to come by, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You've like messed it up maybe two times and to the other person it just feels like, oh my God, this is never gonna get right. And realistically, you just need the space to improve. And I think
Mm-hmm.
a permanent relationship is such a like a pressure cooker that maybe you don't have as much room for this type of a thing to grow.
Yeah, and I also think it's partially who he's paired with. Like while the other women I think can empathize with her and say like, "Oh, I would feel the same way if I heard what he heard." There are some people out there who may not see it the same way. And
Hmm.
so I think it's kind of two extremes being brought together that's
Yeah.
making this even more explosive
I don't
than
know
it
any
needs
of
to
those
be.
people personally, but I'm sure there are. I
Yeah.
think we said this last week. If he has someone who is as heady as he is, then that
Hmm.
would be great. But
Or who would be content with physical affection, soothing them, like how Megan, even though Derek I think has done a good job of verbal and physical soothing of her, but specifically she's like, even the you touching me is what calms me, it grounds me, it reassures me.
I don't think
So
Megan is the best example.
no, but because she's within the show, I'm using it as an
Okay.
example of some people, if that's the way that they feel connected, it would do more for them versus the person who's like, oh, I need quality time or I need something else. You can tell me I'm beautiful all day, but if you don't spend quality time with me, it doesn't mean as much. I
Hmm.
don't feel loved.
Yeah.
So,
No, the reason why I said I didn't know about Megan was just because the whole "I love you" thing was a big deal. Like his
yeah.
touches didn't. It didn't matter how much he was touching her during that time. She was just like, absolutely not.
Yeah, because
But
she was vulnerable and out there.
very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Speaking of being vulnerable, after the dinner, I think Will was leaving for another trip.
Mhm.
And Brittany said, okay, well, I want to take this moment to be vulnerable with you. I'm going to miss you. I love you. And I really want to be with you. I said, okay, look at her trying.
Yes, and I don't know, did he say anything back in that scene? I
No, that was when he pulled. Sorry, that was when he pulled her in. First of all, they could have blurred out my girl's little cheeks. They ain't have to have her out there. Like, I mean, the body's
they was looking
body, but
good.
how do we know she wants that shown on international television?
I know. I can't even imagine just being filmed 24/7 in my own home. I'm with Chad on that. Y'all gonna have to leave. But yeah, I wrote he didn't seem to verbally reciprocate, which is what I feel like she would have needed in that moment. Maybe he whispered it and we didn't hear it, but he pulled her in. So I'm like, dude, say something. Jeez.
Lord.
I'm
Okay, so
gonna,
you mentioned Chad, so maybe we go to Belinda and Chad.
yeah.
All right. So the first time we see them this episode, she says something like, "You seem to not have a concern ever."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oh no, I have concerns." He said, I haven't lived in an apartment in a long
Mm-hmm.
time, and I have concerns about that, but the concerns I have aren't related to you. So there's no point
Mm-hmm.
in me necessarily bringing them up because it's not
Mm-hmm.
something you can fix. So he talked about the apartment. And then he also, I think, mentioned the dog here.
Well, yeah, he was saying that he wasn't comfortable sleeping in the bed with the dog on
Mhm,
his legs. He's basically saying he hadn't gotten good sleep while in
mhm.
the apartment because of the dog being in the bed. Um, and then that's when she started to question how he unwinds versus her. What did you think about that?
I think it's a valid thing from both of their perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
So for her, I get it. I'm going to bed. I just want you here to like snuggle up with me while I'm going to bed. Like we end our day
Mm-hmm.
together. I know that's important for a lot of couples. Like no matter what we're doing, when somebody's going to bed, the other person comes to bed with them and we end our day together. Might have a
Mm-hmm.
nighttime ritual, whatever. So I fully understand where it is that she's coming from. And if that's something that, maybe she has been missing as a single person,
Mm-hmm.
she looked forward to that. I can also see, okay, I've been filming all day. We later find out he's not able to get back into his routine as much as he'd like. I just need some me time. And
Mm-hmm.
the night is the only time I can get that. So I'm going to go get that.
Yeah, so it sounds as though he does come in, spend some time with her.
Hmm.
Her unwinding is, laying in the bed, scrolling on her phone. They're together for a bit, and the dog is there. And then he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go unwind in the living room so I have more space.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get from that he doesn't want to connect with her. I
Yeah.
got that he also is maybe trying to get a little me time in
Hmm.
at the end of the day as well. I also when he was saying like, oh, he brings up the dog. I feel like Belinda was almost kind of surprised, but I remember him saying that the dog, like he was talking about the dog in earlier episodes as well. So I right then and there I was like, say more about the dog situation. And if it's uncomfortable for you to get good sleep, then because you've given it a try at this
Yeah.
point.
I felt like maybe because he hasn't made a big fuss about it, she kind of
Mhm.
just dismissed it like, oh yeah, it was bothering him, but he got over it. I don't think she thought it was an ongoing issue.
Mhm. So he
Yeah.
should have said even more right then.
Hmm.
So,
Okay. But yeah, to your point about, well, it sounds like he's still spending time with her. I think it's a matter of how she views intimacy.
mhm.
So for her, it's like, yeah, he comes for a little bit, but then he leaves, and then I'm here just scrolling on my phone by myself until I fall asleep. And
Mhm.
so she seems to feel like intimacy looks like him staying
Mhm.
until she falls asleep or him just falling asleep right along with her.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Later on, they have this issue with Chad in production.
Mhm.
And we don't see this argument, but
Mhm.
Belinda comes back on camera and she's talking about it. I think she's talking to Jalen about it.
Mhm.
She calls her daughter to talk about it. And she said there was some issue with the filming schedule where they thought they weren't filming on a day, so she made appointments that day. And they
Mhm.
found out that they needed to film. And so he's making a fuss about it with production, like, oh, well, we weren't supposed to be filming today, and now
Mhm.
Belinda has all these appointments. She's like,
Mhm.
don't put me in there. I can move my schedule around.
Mhm.
And I think his attempt to care for her isn't being appreciated.
Mm.
Like, she doesn't see it the same way he sees it. Whereas he sees, oh, I'm just taking care of you. She's like, I don't need to be cared for
Okay.
in this way, you know?
I also I saw it as that, but also he's already experiencing frustration with just the whole process and mixing
Hmm.
up his schedule. And so I also took it as like we as a unit, he was trying to establish like, okay, we're having an issue with this.
Hmm.
Even though for her, she would be like, well, I'll just change it. It doesn't bother me. I think he
Yeah.
was trying to establish like, I've already had my frustrations, but also, now we're having frustrations with it as well.
Yeah. This was tough. I, as an introvert, I fully see where Chad is coming from. I can also understand Belinda's perspective of, hey, if this is a problem for you, like if you're escalating this, escalate it on your own behalf. Like, don't make it seem like I have an issue with this when I don't. Like, don't misrepresent me. Don't have people thinking I'm upset too by how you are presenting it. And especially if he is going from 0 to 100, I don't know that I would want to be associated with that.
Mm,
I see what she's. It reminded me of a few episodes ago, or maybe at the beginning, when he says like he approaches relationships and he's always trying to take care of other people. And I think that is wonderful and that's beautiful. But sometimes people want to stand on their own,
mm-hmm,
like they don't want to be coddled. They don't want to be like what he's interpreting as care, which I think is beautiful. I think he has a good heart behind it. What he's interpreting as care, somebody could interpret as misrepresentation or you're smothering me or whatever. And
mm-hmm.
that's what I see happening in this
But
situation.
she didn't ask you to do that on her behalf.
Yeah.
I think so. Number, I think number one, I think he wants someone to stand in his corner
Hmm.
or to get where he's coming from.
Yeah.
I think, as he mentioned, like, oh, I'm a combat vet. Like, I'm at this point in my life where I don't want to be told what to do. I think he was also looking for her to like stand with him
Back
and
him up.
and be a united front. And so I definitely understand, like, be mindful of how you're communicating it to people. But I've also heard, whether it's done on purpose or not, the production companies, like they're just trying to get their show filmed. They're not the most cognizant of your schedule, your life, or any repercussions that filming may have later on you. And so I just took it as him wanting her to like, hey, babe, stand with me on this. Um, and I think if it were me and I had booked an appointment and he was basically like, hey, y'all, we're going to stick to the original schedule. And that's what we asked, to not confuse our lives or whatever the case, because she's clearly comfortable with things moving this way, that way. For whatever reason, he's not, or he's not able to as much. And so for me, if I had already booked my hair appointment and he seems to be really flustered by this, I wouldn't have felt no type of way about you being like, hey, stick to the schedule and just keep it moving. And I felt like in that conversation with Jalen, which I also I really don't care for her going to her daughter about
Hmm.
their marital things, and vice versa. I don't think Jalen should be coming to her either. I think in that moment, it was more of a thing of, I took it as Belinda wanting to be independent, like, I'm my own person. You don't get to speak for me. Like, we're not a unit. And I get that, because the way in which he communicates it matters. And if he's rude to people, hold him accountable for that. Um, and I think Jalen was also kind of co-signing, like, oh yeah, like he's not the boss of you. Like, let him do him and you do you, kind of attitude. And I don't, it really for me boils down to how it was communicated. I think if I saw my spouse in distress around the filming and the this and the that, I could lean on, oh, I don't relate, but you clearly seem to be in distress about this. So how can I support you? You need me to stand with you on this? Okay, bet I'm standing.
I also wonder if there was a conversation that Chad had with Belinda before jumping to that. Like, I know that that would be a situation where I would have a follow-up question about, like, if you just came in here and now you're saying, we can't do this, we can't do that, and you haven't even, like, spoken to me. So, like, the first time I'm hearing about this issue is when you're going off on everybody and you're throwing my name in the mix. Like, we didn't have a discussion about this at all. It's just coming up between you and production. I might feel a type of way. Like, you also have to remember Belinda is what, 47 years old, has been in a situation, we find out later, where maybe the man is acting a little bit volatile or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, that's why I was like, I want to know how it was communicated. Like, is her frustration with the fact that she was included, period, or that she wasn't, there wasn't like a conversation had around if she could change her schedule, or what was it about the transaction? Because it sounds as though he's been frustrated with the back and forth with production, and that this, it wasn't just this like one incident. And I think she's taken the position of, you got a problem with them, I don't have a problem with them.
Hmm.
And maybe that's how it needs to be. Like, if he's been showing his behind, then yeah, I wouldn't want to be associated with it either. But if it's just a thing of, hey, I've been switching my schedule this way and that way, and I think Belinda's okay with appealing. Like, she wants to maybe be in good graces or have a great relationship with production, and I only met you because of this show. And I think he's on the flip side of that, of, to hell with this show. Yeah, I've met you here, but like, I'm not going to let these people run my life.
Yeah.
So I think they're just very, I think how they handle conflict is just very different. She doesn't want conflict, and to maybe to go against the grain or what's asked of her, even if she is put at an inconvenience. And I think he stands on business and will
Yeah.
not be inconvenienced.
And I think an inconvenience is defined differently for each of them. So like, I don't know what
Hmm.
appointments she had. What did she say? Her hair or something like that?
I don't even
I
know.
don't know. But it might not have been like life or death. Well, I need to go to these appointments. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was
So
just, he used that, if it was a hair appointment, as a way to be like, see, my wife is standing with me on this too. And, you
yeah.
know,
I also think, and this is gonna move us forward, so we're not, but I also think, to your point about he wants somebody to back him up. I think even in cases where people may or may not be backing him up, he uses them as an example. So like the thing with Josh later on. So Chad and
mhm.
Belinda go to dinner, and I could tell there was a production issue because because of the shots that production was getting. I said, why are they so, like, why are they looking at him underneath the kitchen cabinet? You know, like, where is their camera positioned that they can't get close enough to this conversation? I already knew there was stuff going on just from the camera angles. But they go, and one of the things that he's saying is, oh, Josh feels the same way I feel.
Well, I thought he said something like, Josh also said something about production
Driving a
doing things to
wedge.
cause a wedge between him and
Mm-hmm.
Jalen. He
Mm-hmm.
didn't say what. I wonder if, one, it was a conversation versus a text, and two, I wonder, Chad not, did he not give more information and not break bro code? Because I I don't want, I can't say if he was lying or not. But something tells me that there was more to the conversation with Josh and Chad didn't want to say the full extent to Belinda on camera.
I don't know if it was, I don't, well, obviously neither one of
Yeah.
us knows, but what I took from it as a possibility was, he comes to Josh and he's having this conversation, and Josh to be an encourager or to be on his side, is like, yeah, agreeing to certain things. Like, oh, yeah, I can see that. Or, in support of him, not
Mhm.
necessarily because Josh feels that way, but because when your friend is coming to you talking about something that is really grinding their gears, you listen, you try to
You're like,
say,
oh, I
yeah, I
get
can
it.
understand yeah, I get it. I can see a percent. Yeah, I can see how they're driving a wedge, or I can see. And so I don't think Chad was just trying to lie. I thought that was an
Mhm.
extreme conclusion to draw. But
And once I saw the scene with the friends, sorry, I'm jumping ahead with Jalen and Josh, and the awkward moment with because we don't know the order in which this was shot. I
mhm.
do think this whole Burning Man, the lack of community conversation and the hobbies, I do think that it is production driven. That's just me. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so I can't say for sure. I know I'm reaching, but I wouldn't be surprised if Josh did say something to the effect of, "Yeah, production has been poking and prodding on certain things, and I think it could just be to like stir up TV drama." Like I wouldn't put it past him to say that because he wouldn't be have been the first person to say like production does things in a way to create entertaining TV.
Hmm.
So I can't say for sure Josh said it, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was something along those lines. Not there's a specific wedge, but yeah, production is gonna produce, and so
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe he didn't want to say. Maybe I'm giving him too
I
much credit.
I mean, I also don't think he needed to throw in Jalen and Josh, especially because it's now a thing. Like, she's Mama Bear, so of course she's gonna go back and be like,
Well, yeah,
"Is there a
that was
problem
another thing.
here?"
Why lie?
So I don't know. Like I said, I think it might have just been, I'm supporting you, Chad, and yeah, I can see this, I can see that. But Chad needed that. Like he needed
Hmm.
somebody to co-sign, and so he took it maybe with more weight. But you know who I wanted to hear from in this situation? I'm like, call Josh up because now I want to
That's
know
what I said. Yeah.
what's happening. Please. Um, okay. So I think I don't see a problem with Chad struggling. I just think like how he handles it, he just needs to be aware of who he has married and how
Mhm.
these things affect her. Like him, I think he sees himself as protecting her and protecting them, but maybe that's not the type of protection that she wants or needs from him.
Mhm.
And so like instead of like escalating the situation, maybe she just needs him to talk to her in a way that she feels like, okay, it's communicating how he feels and I can make the adjustments, but you turning up with these people is just making me like shrink.
Mm.
I remember I have a family member and they had a longtime friend, right? And so one day I was like, oh, such and such, what happened to friend X? And she said, I stopped hanging out with her. I said, what? Like, y'all been friends for however many years. And she said, yeah, because when we would go out, she would always be trying to like get aggressive with people and fight with people. And I just didn't want to be around that. And so I think
Mhm.
about that type of dynamic where it's like, I don't I don't want to be here. I don't want to be involved in the conflict. So,
Yeah, I think for the stage in which Chad is at, ideally he'd be further along in managing his reactions and emotions. I will say at the sushi date,
mhm.
I applaud him for being vulnerable and saying how much is giving him anxiety, how
Mhm.
it's extremely uncomfortable
Overwhelming.
for him, even just being in an apartment building.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot more going on with him in this whole filming aspect than he could have probably anticipated. He seems to be thrown off by it. And I will say, in that conversation, I do wish that Belinda, while I know she's in protection mode, would have acknowledged, like, okay, babe, like, how could I Like, I understand where you're coming from, and this is a lot. I think for her, it was just kind
Mhm.
of an attitude of, well, it doesn't bother me. I'm fine with it.
I think she's very triggered.
And while she may be triggered, I think, you know, he can't pay for the sins of her ex-husband. Um, and vice versa. Like, he has to grow up as well. I think that they're both going to have to move on this. So, yeah, I wish he would have been just in that moment a bit more thoughtful
Sorry.
to his struggle. Yeah.
I don't know. The production angles, I just there probably was still some tension in the air. So
Mhm.
I don't know how understanding we could have expected him to be, because like the thing that's triggering him is still literally all around him. And I don't know how encouraging I could expect her to be if there's
Well, I
still
think
that
in
tension.
scenes where like she's expressed vulnerability, and I feel like he's done a good job, at least before this scene where he's expressing his own vulnerabilities of
Mm-hmm.
like reassuring her and letting her know like I'm all in, I understand your perspective. This
Mm.
is where what I'm going to do to meet you there, especially like the conversation after the honeymoon where he had it. Well, they were at the table, dinner table.
Remind me. Thank
Yeah,
you.
they were at the dinner table and he didn't handle it in the way in which she thought
Oh,
he
when
should
they went
have.
back to
I felt
bed.
like he did a great job of connecting with her and reassuring her, and that he understood her perspective. And I think that's what I was just looking for from, it's like, okay, Chad is saying how something is really impacting him. So show a bit of like empathy from his perspective instead of just, well, it doesn't bother me. I don't care about the schedule changes. You're out there on your own that it bothers you.
Okay, I don't know. I fully see where you're coming from with Chad. Because you brought up this other scene at the honeymoon, like just remembering how shut down she was in that moment, a part of me is like, maybe she's trying to be more vocal now. And I don't know if from her perspective it's a thing of you're on your own. I get that he probably feels that way, right? Like they haven't gotten to a place where she has shown that empathy that you mentioned, where she's like, oh, you're not alone. But I think in this moment, it's just a thing of you don't even know if this is bothering me and you're throwing me in there.
Hmm.
That's what I'm
Well, more so like on the production side of it, like not the whole thing of her being included in the argument around the schedules moving, but more so just understanding his perspective of how much anxiety this is causing him,
yeah.
like reassuring him like, hey, I may don't care about the changes, I don't own a business, so the changing of it, things back and forth with the clients, like I can't, I'm not in that with you, but I can relate to you and I'll stand by you, if this is causing you distress, more so that, like when,
Yeah.
like if you're partnered with someone and you're in a moment of something is really causing distress for you, I think it can be hard to hear, yeah, but it don't bother me,
But
that's you.
I guess what I'm saying is I don't think that's what she was saying. So what I
I
said
don't
in response to that, like it don't bother me. I think it's more of like this isn't if you're doing this to defend me, it's not even bothering me. So why are you going 0 to 100 when I'm not bothered? Like you're just throwing me under the bus almost.
Right. And I think for him, he's looking for someone to stand with him, like, and understand, like, yeah, I maybe can't relate. The scheduling issue is my issue, but because we're married and we're invested in each other, it's our issue. Like, the hair appointment is just one example.
Yeah.
But if he runs this business that she say may be a part of or connected to in some type of way, it's like it's a we thing, and I think that's what he was looking for from her.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I I think that is all valid. I think just
mhm.
Mr. Uncle Chad. maybe not when you're acting acting a fool. Like, I just
Yeah,
feel very
how he says it
funny about that.
definitely
Yeah.
matters because no
Um,
one wants to be embarrassed by their partner.
Especially someone who's
Um,
very anti-conflict, like, or who feels uneasy about conflict, which we'll get to later with Dr. Pia's visit to them.
mhm.
But that was all I had for them on this
Yeah,
episode. Was that okay? All
yeah.
right. Jalen and Josh, I don't have much, but she arranged a meeting with, like, she was talking about arranging a meeting with the friends when they were
Mhm.
leaving the
They
retreat.
get together.
And then they do the get together. And then I think one they seem like they really want to merge their friend groups, which I was like, maybe Miosha can explain this to me because I don't know that I can relate. Like, I just feel like, okay, well, we're hanging with
Why you
your
think I
friends
can do it?
because you be wise and all that, you know? And so I was like,
Uh,
maybe she'll have a
I
different perspective.
I mean, I think it's cool for the friends to meet, but let your friends be your friends, my friends be my
We
friends.
do not have
Maybe
to be
we
one
make
big happy family.
Yeah, maybe we make new friends together, but this whole thing was awkward. They still are looking for hobbies to do together. Why? Just live life together.
Oh my gosh, I literally said, just give it time. Y'all have 8 weeks. Y'all are not gonna discover. And sometimes you don't even know you like something. Like, sometimes this person takes you on a hike, and now you're like, you know what, I kind of like hiking. Or this person takes you to the spa, and you're like, you know what, that foot scrub wasn't so bad. Like,
Or you're just living life together.
and
That's it.
maybe it's just that y'all like to watch shows over the weekend, or like, it could be anything. I think they're just putting so much pressure on this because maybe they don't have many other issues.
I will say too, I think Josh and Jalen were the couple where I was like, oh yeah, I feel like they'll be a yes. I don't think it'll be a yes for Jalen.
I think it will be
You think it will be?
on
Yeah,
decision day.
something about it is giving me where I could see her saying no.
Okay. I feel like they're at a point where, yes, there are issues, but they don't see the issues as so big that they can't continue to be with each other. I think if they are
Mm,
not together today, it's some it's something that would have come up within the last few years, or it would have been the same issue coming up within the last
mm.
year. But I think
I feel like I don't see them talking about nothing. Just like, are y'all really preparing for real life together? What hobbies?
friends. Well, maybe that's important at 27. How old is Josh? 31?
Yeah, maybe, but I'm more so like, okay, religious background. I don't know. How would you raise kids? Finances. We skipped over this whole posting up thing. Ain't heard about it since. I don't know. Either way, Belinda, I think. Oh yeah. So the only other thing, I think I put the conversation Belinda had with Jalen. What do you think about Belinda and Jalen talking about? Because I know where I stand. I think
Yeah.
yes,
We heard.
yeah. I just yes, y'all are in the process together, but
Yeah, I don't know that I care so much about Jalen talking to Belinda. Belinda strikes me as very, like, even keel. She's able to a certain extent, at least from what we've seen, to give Jalen decent advice and not hold anything against um Josh.
Josh. Hmm.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily mind. Now, that's just with the things that they've talked to each other about so far. Like, I don't think the things they've spoken to each other about so far are so detailed or in the weeds that I'm like, "Oh, this is dangerous." So I don't mind it at this stage.
Hmm.
I honestly think Jalen needs to talk to her mom. I think, yeah, I do. Because especially in the beginning, like, say the first few episodes, I just kept feeling like she needs to talk to somebody who maybe has more experience than her, because she was such a yes woman. And that concerned me. But yeah, I think the conversations they've had so far are fine. I like that they have that bond.
Yeah, I think separation is good. I understand being in this process is a lot because it's a unique situation. But you take Belinda's even killed and being able to give solid advice. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think they should be taking advice from either one of each other.
I think about when they went to the retreat and Jalen was just like, the community, community, community. And Belinda's like, what are you talking about? Like, y'all, like, give it time. He's not saying this against you. He's saying,
Mm,
like, I just felt like she was extremely on point with that. So something like that, I think it makes sense for her to bring to her mom. I don't know if she's talked about the whole like Burning Man debacle
mm-hmm,
or whatever. I don't know if she's talked to her mom about that. She probably
mm-hmm.
hasn't talked to her mom and told her mom that he said, "Don't ever roll your eyes at me," and
I know.
said it in a very strict. I don't think
Wait till
she's
her
said.
mama watch this back. You think Chad was being intense?
That was a very intense moment. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, I don't mind it so far. Now I wouldn't say that for all like I don't think, oh yeah, girls should just talk to their moms about relationship stuff. But I just think these two have a unique-ish bond um,
Mm-hmm.
that might work for this. I think I would worry about it more with Belinda going to Jalen because Jalen isn't trying to give a measured perspective at all.
Mm-hmm.
She's just like, he said, what to you? Oh no,
Mm-hmm.
So I would worry about that more so than the other way around.
Okay.
But
I say no advice. You say some advice. Cool.
yeah. Now, what do you say? Let us know in the comments. No. But yeah. All right, Pat and Rhonda.
Okay.
So her stepdad Danny is sick,
Mm-hmm.
and she and she and Mr. Pat talked about coordinating their schedules. I guess he bought tickets for this thing and just assumed that she would be able to go with the mom,
Mm-hmm.
but
Him and his mom, yeah.
yeah, with him and his mom. And so she didn't appreciate that, which I can get. I feel like this is a very like early relationship thing where you're like booking things and you're so excited, like, oh yeah, me and my partner are gonna show up, and your partner's like, I don't even want to go to that. Like, what are you thinking about? Like, I think it's always a good practice to check in and say, hey, this is happening. Would you like to come? And so he had to learn that lesson.
Yeah, I
But
think
go
having a
ahead.
shared calendar, yeah, check with me, fine. But everything doesn't need to be a lecture, Miss Rhonda. Just say, hey, next time ask me before you buy it so you know you don't waste your money if I already have a conflict. Why do you need to go down a rabbit hole of explaining to this man who worked in aerospace why he needed a shared calendar? It's too much.
I also think, I mean, in addition to us not liking the way that she communicates, I think because they're new, maybe there's a tendency to over explain. Like, once there is an issue, like, oh, I just want to nip this in the bud, but it's going to be an issue again. There's going to come some type of schedule conflict or whatever. What I didn't like was her being nitpicky about him saying the word coordinate versus ask. And it's like, yeah,
It's
what do you
very
do?
controlling.
There's coordination that goes into it. Like, okay, if I'm asking you, I still have to coordinate three people's schedules. Like, girl,
It's
chill.
giving controlling. And if it
Yeah.
were like, if he had said that to her, I'd be like, whoa. So now you're trying to control all the words that come out of her mouth because she doesn't describe it in the way in which you feel like it needs to be described.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. And
I
then I guess she felt the way because he was ignoring her once he got in they were in the store. Notice they're always doing something when he's distracted and like not paying attention to her. So they're walking into the store. So because he doesn't stop in the middle of the store, let you finish your lecture, he's like, okay, let's get the gloves. Let's keep getting what we came in here for.
This man can't multitask to save his life is what I'm learning. Like, you need to pick up on that because I think she jumps to interpret his actions as he doesn't care when really he maybe just a little aloof. Like I don't know.
And to me, that's such a strong statement to say that your partner doesn't care because y'all are having a conversation about a calendar and he's like, hey, let me get the gloves. Maybe you could finish it in the car. Like, maybe if he missed your family reunion, maybe if he didn't come with you to your dad's gravesite, maybe if he's not being supportive through, your stepdad's sickness, then you could say, I feel like you don't care. Miss Rhonda,
That's literally what I said. I feel like if I were an expert, which I don't need to be anybody's expert, but if I were an expert, I would give her an exercise for like a period of maybe 3 days that she would write down all the positive things that he does. Because I think there are so many positive things. There are so many things that show, oh, this man cares. This man is trying to be here. But as soon as he could do five positive things, the one negative thing is the one that gets amplified. And
mm-hmm,
then she turns it into, oh, he doesn't care. When really you need to look at the whole picture, right? Like it's not just this one thing that he did today. There's been like a series of actions that you
mm-hmm.
can hold that in comparison to, and you would see how caring he is.
Yeah, and imagine how, which by the way, you are an expert, Dr. Divine.
Oh, well, not on this.
But imagine you putting in the work and you have these small hiccups and all of a sudden you don't care. It would just make you like, well, fine, why do I
No, I
even
don't care.
try? Got what you wanted. The way I would throw in the towel and keep it moving. But anyway, so I
Yeah.
think then we jump to Pat sitting with his friend,
Oh
Adrian.
gosh, I feel like yeah, Adrian.
Go home, Adrian.
Okay, also Adrian was cutting her off too, but because he was agreeing with everything she was saying, I guess she was moved to tears. Like, oh, he just gets it. And we just said with Brittany last week, like, yeah, it makes sense that everybody else got it and her partner didn't. Like to me, that situation made sense. With Miss Rhonda, I am so sorry, but this man is trying, and then you're like, yeah, I just want you to be yourself. Well, himself doesn't pay attention to details like that. Can you accept him the way he is, really?
But let's talk about this friend. Imagine your friend fly in. You explain that you've been in distress. How did he put it? He said that this experience has been painful. He's like, yeah, you really do need to be yourself. Y'all are locked in having this conversation. Now, of course, you don't expect your partner to show up and y'all just dogpile on her. Of course not. Y'all can keep it cute. But for
Mhm.
him to completely flip the script, not really knowing anything
Is that your friend for real, Mr. Pat?
for
But
40 years.
they also might come from that generation of happy wife, happy life. I don't know. Did Adrian have a ring on? I was gonna go back and check and just forgot to. But I don't
But
know.
he made the situation worse because he co-signs it. She gets up, she storms into the restroom.
And he
She's so
doesn't know. He doesn't know like how hard it's been. You need to watch the show with us, Mr. Adrian. That's what you need to do because he's
he
just
could have
a
said
word.
really hardly anything. I didn't expect him. Like if he could have been like, oh, okay, like I understand your perspective, Rhonda.
Yeah.
But for him to be like, oh well, yeah, that's stupid behavior on his point.
Yeah, you
Excuse
got to
you?
change that. You got to do better. You got to fix that. It's like,
If you don't get
not
back
this
on the
girl would
plane,
never.
oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I don't. I think they're just not a good match. Oh, I mean, not. I think we know that. I think I can objectively say they're not a good pairing, because he's trying so hard. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can see this man trying, right? But it's just he's under a microscope. If there's this saying, I'm sure other cultures say it too, but Liberians say it like, if you look far up enough, anybody's you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna find ish,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like she is so far up his mind, you can't help but to see it, Miss Rhonda. That's how I feel about these two.
And I think for him, he's clearly in distress because every conversation, even when she sat down and was like, oh, with the stepdad, he's like, okay, well, how have you been feeling? You could tell he's really trying to apply but it's almost like, well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And
Don't
I
get
will
the
say
tea.
too, Rhonda
Mhm.
just has a lot going on. This process is a lot, and then you're trying to support and show up for a person who independently has a lot going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and to her credit, she's built a life around herself that
Mm-hmm.
is enjoyable. And I think it just takes a lot to unlearn a lot of the behaviors. I bet she's such a fun friend, you know?
Oh, of
I bet she's
course.
great.
But I think she needs maybe more of someone to talk to
She need a little boyfriend. That's what she
or
needs.
a therapist who will
Oh
just
my
listen and she'll really be heard. Both.
Okay.
Both. We all want someone to talk to,
Which
but
these are facts. These are
Pat
facts.
Pat is probably not going to be the one that you could just talk to.
Yeah. And I feel like you have to realize pretty early on, okay, this is what I can do with you, and I need other people. I need I need other resources for some other stuff because you're gonna frustrate me if I talk to you about these things, and I'm not gonna be frustrated.
And I think every person goes through that, men and women. Oh, okay, she's not going to get it. He not going to get it. And that's fine.
Uh,
Anywho,
boy.
that's all I have for them.
I said, is Adrian single? Because maybe Miss Rhonda could date him.
The way he was acting was like he wanted to shoot his shot.
I
Can you imagine a friend of 40 years?
when she said to Mr. Pat, permission to be who you were born to be, I said that is really rich coming from you, Miss Rhonda. You don't mean a word of that.
Well, I took that also as like, okay, I'm definitely going to be me.
But Mr. Pat's not gonna do that.
He can't.
Oh, can I say about Mr. Pat? Because there's not much like negative stuff that we
Hmm.
have said about him this season, and this isn't negative, but he is the reason why I am usually anti people jumping from one relationship to another, because you realize you don't really know who you are. You know who you are in conjunction with another person. And
Mm.
so I do and did think it was a red flag when he was like, yeah, I'm coming out of a 3-year relationship. Like, you need to take time to figure some stuff out, Mr. Pat, before you jump out here and start dating and considering a serious relationship again. Because you've been in relationships for the last, what, he was married 30 years and then 3 years with the
Hmm.
last girl. So 33 years. Like, take some time to yourself, I think.
Yeah, I think for him it's a balancing act of take some time, but if you're 60 years old, you may
What is
also
he?
feel like
54? No.
no, he's 60. He's 60.
I thought
She's
she was he's
63.
50, he's 59.
He's 59.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
I think at that
60.
stage, given the average age, like you maybe don't want to wait 2 years, you know?
Maybe not 2 years, but maybe he needs somebody to talk to as well. Like, if you're gonna continue
Yeah.
dating or trying to get into a serious relationship, I think he needs to discover himself so that when he's in a relationship, he's not a chameleon.
And
That's
he's not attracted to certain types of people because later on we hear how he's typically shrinking or adjusting and putting everyone
yeah.
else's needs first. And so, yeah.
And now he's doing that, and it's still not working for him. Like, he is trying
And
his
it's also who he's paired with, similar to Will and Brittany. Like, it's just, they're so opposite. He may not be, like, obviously, he wouldn't be under as much scrutiny if he was with a different person.
Yosha, we've been talking for an hour and we're still on episode 11.
Okay, we're gonna go.
We haven't been talking about Megan and Derek yet. Okay.
Okay.
Do a podcast with your best friend this just here yapping.
Because we were supposed to talk before this, but now we're just taking our sweet time.
Okay, Megan and Derek.
Okay.
So they talk about revealing the pregnancy, the baby reveal, living situations, and how they can set themselves up so that
Hmm.
she's feeling chill and relaxed during the pregnancy and they're healthy. All right.
Yeah.
Anything
And
about that before we go to their babysitter?
no, both excited and nervous, and yeah, nothing else.
Okay, so then they decide to babysit Nate and Rachel's kids, which thank you. I forget who did it, but someone in the comment was like, that's not her
Hmm.
sister, that's her friend. So thank you for that last week. But they're babysitting Nate and Rachel's kids,
Hmm.
and these kids have a blast.
Of course, they got all the activities, and it's
Yeah,
only for a couple hours. If I were the friends, I'd be like, "Can y'all give us a good solid 24
give
so
us a
y'all can
day.
get, yeah, at least a day." Like, what you gonna do in 4 hours? Nothing.
Right. Because all they did was really play.
Hmm.
And so,
Yeah, at least do a full. None of them are toddlers. Do a
yeah.
full 24 hours. Bring a little overnight bag so y'all can really get the feel for a
Yeah.
full 24 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, one of them was like, this is even better than our regular babysitter. He said, I want to stay. Keep me here. But I will say, I
Mm-hmm.
do. Okay. They're in the situation now, so there's no going back. But I do hate that that's all they're talking about. Like, that's all we see now. Like, we're not seeing anything else about their relationship. And maybe that's the reality of their relationship right now, is just preparing for the baby. But I do kind of wish we could see more of just Megan and Derek and not
Oh yeah.
baby
What else
prep.
about their communication and
Yeah.
relationship dynamics? I
Yeah.
don't think we're going to get much, and I don't know, maybe that is for the best that
Yeah.
they can focus on maybe bringing the child in
Yeah.
united. Like, what would it help for them to clash too much beforehand and try to figure it all out when the baby's still coming?
Yeah.
So, and for her sake, like, I don't know. It'd be
Doesn't need
nice to
drama.
have someone by your side, like,
Hmm.
through the whole process. And of course, she has her mom and siblings, but it's not the same.
Does she have her mom?
Well, her dad.
Right. Um, but yeah, I was cracking up when right after the kids were barely out the door, and Derek wants to do a debrief, and you could tell Megan is tired. She's over here trying to clean up all the stickiness. Like her face in the diary cam. I'll see. I think I took a screenshot of it. I'll
Hmm.
see if I could find it. Did I send it to you? I
Yeah,
did.
you did. And so he's trying to press like, oh, well, now that you've seen what it's like to have 3 kids, what do you think? You think it's possible? You know, what do you think about that?
And she's like, I'm just trying to clean up the stickiness that they got everywhere. I just let me live.
And I don't know, because he's not doing the physical labor of growing the child, I just wish he would let her be okay. We've heard 1,000 times you want 3 kids. Let her have this pregnancy, enjoy it. She's still so early on, nowhere near the end of the first trimester.
I
And
wouldn't have even
so
told the parents. Yeah.
if I were her, I'd be annoyed by all this 3 child talk. And I'm still in the early stages of building one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nah.
Okay. Episode 12.
Okay.
Let's start off with Megan and Derek.
I agree. So her
Okay.
parents come over.
You know you're a prankster when this was the best reaction that I have seen. The mom was like, I knew they were going to try to play us and give us this little joke. And whole time she's very serious. I thought that was a really memorable moment.
It was, and the parents actually took it surprisingly well.
Mm-hmm. You
I
know they're ready.
Yeah, but it's such a unique situation that I would have been expecting them to be more concerned. But what can they do? The baby's already in progress, so
And they're 38 and 39. Like,
yeah,
they're grown, grown.
they
I
are.
I do love to see them spending more time at Megan's house though. Like that little
Hmm.
apartment doesn't even exist at this point. They're just there at Megan's house, and yeah, I think
And
that's
that's what
great.
Chad want.
Okay. Anyway, they go car shopping for the baby, and then they start prepping the baby's room.
Hmm.
Uh, they talk about like Megan is saying, "Well, we don't have to be together to have this child. Like, I don't want the child to be the reason why we say yes on decision day or why we force a
Hmm.
relationship. I don't think those are Derek's sentiments at all. He was a little quiet. I think he has an image of his life that he wants. He wants the wife and the kids, which is interesting because it's like, well, maybe this wasn't, maybe you should have used some type of protection to avoid being in this situation, because she doesn't have to stick with you if that's not what she wants.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think she just doesn't want him to say yes just because of the baby. I think she wants to know, like, you want me for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I will say maybe this is the more traditional side of me. I think if y'all are together in a seemingly healthy relationship, it's not toxic or abusive, I don't see an issue with, yeah, we're still trying to figure things out. Like we may not be where we're supposed to be,
Hmm.
but putting your best foot forward to really try to, make it work given a child is already in progress. That shouldn't be the only reason, but
Yeah.
I'm all for couples saying, yeah, we don't all have it all figured out, but we have extra motivation to put
Hmm.
our best foot forward. So
Mhm.
I can get with that.
That's all I had on
Yeah.
them. And then Pat and Rhonda, I mean, same thing. Like, she was asking him, why do you feel like you can't be yourself? And why are you laughing?
Because Miss Rhonda is not, I don't think, purposefully trying to be manipulative. I think she genuinely is just so aloof to how she
Which
is.
is crazy because that's what he is too, but he can't be.
The nerve, like anybody else, we'd be like, oh, you're a master manipulator. But with her, it's like, Miss Rhonda.
But he shares, he talks about his childhood and how there was so much pressure on him and responsibility and the type of
We
thing.
finally hear about his childhood,
Yeah,
by
yeah.
the way.
Yeah. And during this conversation, she was doing a lot of the things that she doesn't like him doing, like interjecting, and so I think he doesn't mind it as much, so there's grace for
Yeah.
her with that. But we mind, Miss Rhonda. Don't be cutting him off if you don't want him to cut you off. Uh okay. And
Yeah.
then later on, Peepaw or Danny passes
Hmm.
away, which was really sad.
Yeah.
That's all that I had
Yeah, she has a lot
going
going
on.
on. And at this point, I do think they should both say no. As of this
Hmm.
episode, yes. I
You
know
know,
we're
I think this was the couple that I said they're gonna say yes on
mm,
decision day.
regardless after what we've seen now, I think they should both say
Yeah.
no. So they can both be comfortable and happy. He will never
Oh.
be comfortable in this dynamic. And neither will she, unless she kind of works out the whole feeling seen and heard thing.
You know, Belinda says something that I think also applies to Miss Rhonda. So in this episode, we can talk about them. Like,
Hmm.
they're still talking about the same thing, but one of the things she says was, "I've created a space around me like that is so peaceful. I don't have to deal with
Hmm.
what I don't want to deal with." And I think that's Miss Rhonda's life. But it's like, if you're looking for a partner, as peaceful as your partner may be, there will still be some days where it's like, this guy,
It's,
like,
it's never going to be like being by yourself.
and it's never going to be like being with your friends. And that's why a
Hmm.
lot of women who, well, I don't know if it's a lot, I don't know the numbers, but that's why some women who get divorced don't remarry, because your friends like create such a comfortable space that almost like
Hmm.
insulates you a little
Hmm.
bit, and you don't have to worry about that with them.
And if you have a good relationship with your children,
Yeah.
your own family.
She's built the life that she had. Like, getting married at what, 19, that's a lot. And so she's built a life that is really cozy and comfortable for her. And so, she might just need her a little boyfriend too, you know just so that she has a trial run
Yeah, because we never
before
heard if
marriage.
she had dated really after,
Yeah,
seriously
not
after her
seriously.
divorce. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she needs a steady boyfriend.
Yeah. And she had kids very young. So her 20s, her 30s,
Yeah,
Miss Belinda, get out, or Auntie Belinda, get out there and live life.
I think, and she's so cute. Like,
Hmm.
she's so adorable. Um, but they go and talk to the experts. They talk to Dr. Pia,
Mm-hmm.
and Belinda says she's feeling like if decision day were today, it would not be a yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
What did you think? Okay, so Belinda's perspective is that Chad lied about or
Yeah,
put 20 on 10 with the whole Jalen Josh situation.
yeah.
What do you think? That seems to be that plus how in the whole production thing
Mm-hmm.
seems to be a trigger for her to not want to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there's something else more than that going on?
I don't.
Hmm.
No, I don't. I think it, from what she's telling us about her previous serious relationship,
Mm-hmm.
I think I think if she's telling us that it was this way and we're seeing it was traumatic, it was probably 50 times worse.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think any inkling of dishonesty along with how he's reacting to production, I think is enough for her. Now,
Yeah.
do I think he was lying? I Like I said, I think that was a really big conclusion to jump to, but she's jumping to it having experiences that I have not had. So I can't.
Yeah. I think those two issues, like maybe for most people who haven't had her experience, wouldn't be enough to go from yes to no on
Yeah.
decision day. So that's why I was like, do we think that there's more? But because of her experience,
Hmm.
she's ready to get out of there. But Dr. Pia, says that that's a trauma response and that Chad isn't doing anything to that level, but
Hmm.
she's wanting to remove herself with any inkling
Yeah.
that looks like it. But then at the same time, she's spending more time with him than we are. And that's where if there is more, like, say it, because I
Hmm.
do feel like that's kind of a big jump. But then we see some of these behind the scenes of him getting
Seems
into it with
consistent.
yeah, getting into it with production. And his whole thing is, let's give this a try in a normal environment.
Hmm. Hmm.
But that's risky on her part because if this is how you're acting when cameras are around, what
You,
about when they're gone?
you know what I
So,
always think about, and I said this in our very, very first, very, who am I? In our very,
okay, Memphis.
very.
See, this is why we had an hour and 12 minutes.
Okay. So I saw in the very first episode where he said something to the effect of, I mean, I can be an a-hole, but I'm not, right? And so
Right.
maybe that keeps playing in my mind. But I think he is very, I think he is a teddy bear. You know, I,
I will say I haven't seen even those scenes where him getting frustrated with production. I haven't seen anything to say like, oh, he has an anger issue or
no.
anything to that extreme. But I think because of her experience,
Yeah.
she's not as tolerant to those types of behaviors.
Hmm.
For whatever reason, I guess my question is, what is Chad like outside of filming?
Hmm.
Like when they're able to go off and the cameras aren't there, what is she getting from him? Is
Hmm.
it because even the look on his face, he looks uncomfortable to me.
He looks
He
a little
never looks,
sad.
hmm?
And he looks a little sad.
He had a tear. I don't know if you saw it, but he was crying. His hands was shaking when I think the scene where they had the pizza in the apartment, he
Hmm.
looks in distress physically to me. So I want to know what are the interactions like
Yeah.
just there you're not filming 24/7 and so a part of that conversation I wish Dr. Pia would have asked, okay, when the cameras are gone, what are things like? If you're able to go to
Mm.
Chad's house, what are things like?
Yeah. So they tried to talk it out, I guess, and I hated this. He went and slept at his house,
Mhm.
which I mean, I wouldn't recommend, but I can also see you haven't been getting sleep. You're still working your full-time job. You're uncomfortable in the apartment. You have a dog in the bed. Like, I could see how that'll push somebody to be like, I'm going home. Goodbye. But I do hate that now they're both like leaving the home that they have together and going out separately, whatever. But he goes to
Mhm.
his house and then he calls her over, like
Mhm.
to come by. Uh, And she comes, they sit down, and things go left real quick.
Well,
He said,
he starts with trying to have some
apology.
accountability. He was like,
Yeah.
"Hey," and I will say he was being sweet to her, you know, in leading up to them sitting down. He
Hmm.
says, "Oh, I understand my behavior last week was unacceptable." So
Yeah.
he like opens up with kind of an olive branch of like, "Hey, I'm
Hmm.
gonna fall on my sword here and let you know I was wrong." But they go left when they start talking about the
The
dog.
dog.
I'm
The
like,
dog
did
was.
they? The stuff y'all are going left over, it's not making sense to me. It's a simple fix.
Are you? Is it a simple fix if you're a dog mom? I don't
The
know.
dog,
I'm not a dog mom, by the way. So for me, this would be a simple fix. But
right? And well, I will say, okay, so he was. They basically get into it about the dog barking, the sleeping in the bed, and the dog barking. Now, I
yeah,
remember the very first episode when the dog came over. He was saying like, "Oh, the dog barks a lot. The dog is
she
gonna have."
said it.
Yeah, she did say it, and he separately said the dog barks a lot. Like we're gonna have to get him trained on that. So when
Hmm.
he brings it up, I'm almost kind of surprised that she's surprised
Like I
that the
said,
dog
she
is.
dismissed it because he was tolerating it. Like to her, she's like, "Oh, he's okay with it." No, he's
But
still
he
not
said the dog. He said in front of her the dog will need to be trained on
trained
not
on that.
barking at people. So
Girl,
to me, that it was kind of a thing of what can I do? We're in this process, so I'm not gonna blow up with you about this dog. But to me, he said how he felt and what needed to be done about it a while ago. So she's shocked that it's like, oh well, my dog don't bark all day. Girl, we've been seeing the dog bark.
she said, "Well, how do you?" And that's the thing. Okay, Belinda, we don't know that he barks all day because we're not there. Okay, you're right. But when I'm around, I it was a thing where now every little thing you're trying to nitpick, right? Whenever he's around, he hears the dog barking a whole lot. And she's like, "Well, if you come up to the door, okay, well, if somebody walks by the door, then he's barking. That's going to be a disturbance." Like, the
And
dog is a little disruptive.
that's what the dog had been doing when people were walking by the door. He said that the dog is used to barking at people.
And she's like, "Well, you're not even home all day to know." Okay, so I'm gonna set up a camera now. She's like, "It wasn't me." Okay, I will set up a camera in the house so we can see how often the dog is barking. Now you have proof. Like,
And I guess my whole thing is it's a simple fix. The dog could get some simple training, cue training, desensitize him to people walking by, or have the dog sleep on the cot, which she said, yeah, like that's something we could do.
uh-huh.
So she seems sensitive about her dog.
I think she was sensitive already, and it was just another thing to get in on him. And I don't think that was right. I think at this point, I was like, "Okay, girl,
Yeah,
pipe down a
and I
little."
think he's willing to have the dog live with him. I don't think he's an
No, no,
anti-dog
no.
person. It's just a dog with boundaries so he can be
Hmm.
comfortable
Hmm.
as well. Um,
So they don't resolve it, and I don't know how does it work. He's like, "Yeah, this is not." He said, "This is already not going how I envisioned it going." And what happens before she gets up? It just happens so fast
But
for
he
me.
said like, "Oh well, I feel like I can't talk, or like you just want the conversation to go your way." And he was like, "No, I'm just stating something that's factual, and you're wanting to go back and forth with me. Like we can't move the conversation forward. Now we're stuck on if the dog barks or not."
Barks if the dog barks, but that's how arguments in relationships because that the argument started about, "Oh, we need to make sure we load the dishwasher a certain way." Now we're on while the broom is in the hallway. Like, how is that even related? But anyway, she
Yeah.
gets up and she leaves, and then the next thing we see is them at their apartment, and Dr. Pia has to come over because it's like 3 days to decision day at this point.
Yeah, I'm like, are they gonna make it? I think based off the episode title, I was like, "Oh, is it gonna be them that says I
Mm-hmm.
want a divorce?"
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And from this conversation, Chad, he can't go to the gym. He can't do the things that ground him. And
mhm,
so I think to some people it might seem like, okay, you only got a week left. You only got 2 weeks left, but it just seems he's had it up to here.
mhm.
And he can't do the things that normally would ground him. So he has no outlet really. So that, Pia kind of provides the empathy that he needs for that. And then we
Hmm.
talked about like the conflict, Belinda saying conflict makes her uncomfortable, but Pia said like the reality is you can't live life in that bubble. Or you can, but it just won't have him.
Right. You have to maybe get with someone who deals with conflict in a similar way that you do.
Like Pat.
Right. But then everyone would just be running all over y'all, like his
As a
friend.
couple.
So Chad did say something that kind of confirmed what I felt in the last episode, how
Hmm.
he said he just wants someone who understands him. And she was like, oh, well, I've been trying to understand.
Hmm.
And so I think he's just wanting to feel like someone is in my corner and understands just how uncomfortable this is for me. But I will say, Pat, you can't expect her to be
Chad.
you. Oh, Chad, yeah, you can't expect her to be you. And so while I think she could empathize,
More.
but if that's just not her, it's not her.
Yeah.
So
I don't think she tried that hard. Like I felt like she was a little bit on one this episode.
I think
Uh,
as things progressed,
yeah.
that's how I viewed her. Yeah, she didn't try as hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I feel like whenever she's had concerns, he's relatively open to hearing feedback and adjusting.
hmm.
And I think when it's the opposite, I think she's like, yeah, I hear you, but the dog still barks.
Okay. Jayla and Josh, we don't have a whole lot on them. But they did talk about the Burning Man situation again. And now he's saying, well, if you can't go, then it's just not going to be the same. And I don't want to go. You have lived a whole life without Jalen. I'm sorry.
This is another couple where we don't see anything else that's going on beyond Burning Man and hobbies.
And
What
friends,
else
community.
in community, girl? What else is going on?
I think he needs to go to his Burning Man, and she's not asking you to give it up, so you don't give it up. Okay? There will be a lot of things that she probably will ask you to give up, so hold on to the things you don't have to.
And this Burning Man is maybe once or twice a year. I'm not sure, but what else are you doing the rest of your time? Find ways to connect then. How are you connected to your friends in Austin? This is not that difficult.
It's not. Next. Okay. Brittany and Will.
Okay.
If we could give out awards for most improved, I would give it to them.
Really?
I would. Most improved, like from day one to where they are. But
Okay.
I think so. I mean, who else? Mr. Pat
Definitely
and
not Pat
Rhonda
and
have
Rhonda.
improved in any way
Well, Pat improved. Rhonda stayed the same.
as a couple.
Maybe
um,
Megan and Derek, but that's only because their focus has shifted, I think.
yeah, the next time he brings something up, and I think this whole situation is going to cause him to go into more of a yes man situation.
Hmm.
Like because
Yeah.
he's trying to appease her, make sure she's
Yeah.
good. Uh, So yeah, I
As
don't.
he should. He want 3 kids.
Yeah, I just don't see their situation and improving. Anyway,
Hmm.
so here's why I say that. So they go on this romantic date on the boat, and she asked, she was like, "Well, do you feel the emotional connection has grown?" And he said, "Hold this is a trick question." He said, "Hold up, let me make sure I get it right this time because last time I did it." And so
Hmm.
he gives an answer, like what
Hmm.
love means to him, and she says, "Hmm." She's clearly not satisfied with it, and she says, "I think we just think about love differently." Uh, and I think for Brittany, outside of this, I think the emotional and the feelings, like all of that, is important, right? But I also think she should find some value in someone just being committed because sometimes love looks
Hmm.
like a committed. Like once those feelings aren't there on sad days, it's really the commitment that'll keep you going for a marriage. So
She almost seemed disappointed that
yeah.
she was like, oh, well, you see it as an obligation. He said no, because he
Hmm.
actually said something like, it's actions. I want to see make you happy. It's
Hmm.
also how I feel about you. So
He ain't say
Describe
how
it.
he felt about her, but yeah.
Well, he said something
He
else
said
that alluded
commitment.
to something else out of just being committed. Either way, she seemed disappointed that he didn't answer in the way that she felt,
Mm-hmm.
and you can tell he was irritated by it. I said, "Now we see some irritation.
Ah.
We finally see something."
Yeah,
So,
'cause I think he does need to be more emotional, of course, but I think she just needs to see that, hey, the commitment part is super valid, and that's, you want somebody to say that.
and
Like,
not only that, on the flip side, she says, "Oh, it's more of a feeling for me." Girl, feelings come and go. So then
yes,
what's left? So that could be seen as
she needs to
a
mature in
negative.
that area, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will say I was really happy that in the moment he said, okay, it feels like no matter what I say, I don't say
Mhm.
it quite the way that you want it. And that made me happy. It made me even happier when she checked her, like when she checked herself and was
Mhm.
like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I just like invalidated and dismissed what you were saying when it was coming from a very genuine place. And that's why I was like, good job, both of you guys.
And I think because of how he's communicated things in the past,
Mm-hmm.
she probably goes into these conversations almost betting that how he's going to
Keeping the
respond,
word.
but he
Yeah.
actually, I
Showed
think,
up.
he showed up and gave a genuine response. And so I think for him, I already knew, I'm like, he's not making a huge fuss about this, but the one time he gets it right, the way she responded threw him completely off. So it's kind of like, I'm damned if I do or if I don't.
Mhm. And I said, I think this has shown improvement. Next time, we just got to make sure we improve to the point where you just take him at his word.
Well, it's because it's like, well, you're
Then
not
we'll
going to
be
believe me
cooking with
anyway.
fire. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to believe me anyways.
Yeah.
And I get her perspective because if you're in the groove of hearing things a certain way, but I wish she just would have said, "Oh, okay,"
Yeah.
and left it at that.
Yeah. You got to practice at least a few more times just taking what he's saying without but
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to do. I will say, after she checked herself, he was really accommodating to her.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're very sweet. I know you didn't mean it
Mm-hmm.
like that. And she starts to like cry because of how she made him feel. I was
But
like,
also because I think him saying, "Oh, you're very sweet. I know how you are as a person." That's what she wants to hear. And I said, "Okay, Will,
they
you
were
get
they
it.
were they were doing their thing in this
He
scene.
he really has stepped it up."
Yeah. And then she said,
But
mhm.
is
She
it
was like,
enough?
now it's on her to make sure he's comfortable with expressing himself. So I was proud of them. I felt like
Mm-hmm.
a teacher who has taught them nothing, but I felt like one. And then we're getting their decision day first, which I didn't see, but then I understood why. Because they wanted to
There-
leave us on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, apparently the decision's already been made.
But they seemed like, I wrote down, I think they're going to be a yes based off of where they were when they left each other. I was like, I think they're going to be a yes because, like, what you want to see out of relationships is that we can overcome things together. And because they've had so many things that they've overcome, and at the end of the day, they still like each other for real,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that will give them enough to say yes on decision day. But and she
Hmm.
was really confident. And oh,
She
I,
was.
I hated how this happened because it was everything that she's been saying she was afraid of having happen.
I still go back to though, even it's like say Will's communication improved. Was he really your person, Brittany?
Yeah, but she can't see it as clearly as we can.
Like independent of him, I know he had two instances or the boat ride where we saw like, okay, there's a lot of growth on his part, but
Hmm.
independent of that, is he your person?
Yeah.
And even she said, so from what was it, the couples retreat to then, how do you go from there's zero communication, emotional connection on your part, Brittany, to, oh yeah, I see us having a future together? What's missing? Because not that much time passed.
No, but I think he's been working on providing a space where she can feel secure and she sees the effort. And so it's like, you don't want to give up on somebody who's really trying. I think
Even
that's
if
what's
you
going to be.
yourself don't have an emotional connection with them?
I think him trying, just like you said, the thing with him saying all the things she wanted to hear made her emotional. I think that increases your emotional like connection and intimacy with the person. So for them, I think it's just moment by moment, to be very
Literally.
honest. And that's why I felt like they were going to say yes on decision day. And she was so confident, which is what she was afraid of the entire time. Like, I'm afraid to be confident because I feel like he's going to which honestly, if you feel that way about anybody, just, it's a no in real life
Well,
or on this show.
she woke up saying that she felt at peace with her decision,
Mhm.
and that's exactly how she wanted to feel. So I wasn't even sure that she was a yes.
I was
I
sure she was
didn't.
a yes because she had said
Oh.
something about they had talked about what their life would look like after this process. And so she was 100%
Mm,
confident in their answer. I think they were both I think she was sure of them being yeses when he left the apartment that day.
I've seen where people have said similar things in previous seasons, and then they show up and still say no. So I don't
Because
put
why
too
would
as
he
much
call
weight.
her and say, like, I think him calling her to let her know it's going to be a no for me, I think he fully knew it will be a yes from her, and I don't want to blindside her.
I could see him feeling like it's a yes on her part, given how she's responded, at least in that last date, and
I
how
think he
emotional she
knew
was.
she thought he would be a yes too, and that's why he was like, "It's
Mm,
gonna blindside her when I say no. Let me call her and tell her." That's how I read it, but you guys
yeah.
let me
I think
know.
she should have been a no.
I think so too, but I can see. I think they need more time, and eventually they would have been a no anyway. But because it's 8 weeks, there's something about just like wanting to try and believing in the potential of the other person, especially when you see them working towards the thing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think she was pretty easily reeled back in.
Hmm.
Like, Will doesn't, I don't think, have to do much.
Mostly because she's willing. Like, I think she's very willing
Too
to give
willing.
him the benefit of the doubt. Yes, but then there have been couples on this show where they weren't willing enough, and we're like, "Oh my God, you're a pain to watch." So I'm
Mm.
like, I don't know what I would prefer, her or somebody who was like,
I think the reason why is because I think within episode 11 she really identified, like, in order for this to work, I'm going to have to do a lot of like the work.
mm-hmm.
And even with him trying little bits, that still may not be enough for me.
But over the next few days, Miyosha, I think he showed her you're not going to be doing the bulk of the work. I'm gonna do it. I'm willing to do it, and here's a sample. That's what I think happened.
So then what does he say his reason for saying no? He says he doesn't want to be in a relationship where he can't be himself. And then she
Where his
says on
feelings
some
don't
part,
matter.
oh yeah, where his feelings don't matter, and that she says part of her doesn't believe him. I said, believe a man when he tells you
And
once.
she said, but that's just the part of me that wants to fight. You know what? Huh. I think there is still a chance that they say yes on decision day. And
So
here is why. This might sound so crazy.
let's see how far out in left field you are.
I don't think I'm too far in left field. I think there's
Okay.
something with these two where they do a good job of convincing each other. And if she
They both
goes,
drinking the Kool-Aid.
yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. And I think if she goes in there and she's not showing like a defeated attitude, I think that is gonna do something for him. I do. I don't think we've seen the last of these two. I'm not gonna I'm not
I
gonna
will
lie.
say, in their confessional scenes, which I think is shot after some time because they're
Mhm,
like reacting to the footage,
mhm,
I
mhm.
can't read them on if they're still together or not.
I hope they're not still together. I just don't think we've seen the last of them as of whenever this was filmed in 2024. But if they do continue to date, like if they say no on decision
Hmm.
day and then they continue to date, I don't see it working because he's planted the biggest seed ever that he doesn't see this being it for him. And it's almost like when you're in court or when you watch court
Hmm.
shows, how somebody might say something and then someone's like, "Can we strike that off the record?"
Hmm.
You can strike it off the record all you want. The jury has already heard it.
Heard it.
And I
Yeah.
think she's already seen his doubt, and there's no way to dig yourself out of that type of. She'll always have in the back of her mind, he didn't really want to say yes to me, and I convinced him. If they say yes, I convinced him, and that's why he said yes. Or he didn't want to say yes to me. We both said no on decision day and we started dating, but he didn't want me. He didn't want something permanent with me. Like it's always going to be in her head. And so if they continue a little something, whether it was dating or they stayed married, I highly doubt that they would be together still unless they have a very good therapist that they're seeing on a super regular basis.
Yeah. Even before all that, I was hoping it was a no from her. No, from him and her, but more specifically from her because
Mhm.
I'm not convinced that Will is her person. Independent of whatever
Not.
he was doing or saying, I wanted her to come to that conclusion on her
And we
own.
like Will.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's fine. He's just not her person. I
He's
don't
just
think
not.
she was as into him. Like if it wasn't like she said, if it wasn't this process, I would not probably be
Listen
doing
to
all this.
yourself, Brittany. Listen to
Yeah.
yourself, because
So
there's no like. If this were your person, you would not even have to utter those words. Like, there's just not a situation where I could think about like, the person who I'm spending the rest of my life
mm,
with, and I'm like, oh well, it wasn't for this, I wouldn't even be with it. I would be there if that was my, if that's my person. So
yeah. So I feel like
okay,
was that
we have laughed
everybody?
enough. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, because
I
we
think
we
that was
have to
it.
end with them.
Yeah, that was
Ooh,
it.
so, okay, final predictions, and y'all let us know if you made it this part of the video.
Okay.
Let us know
So
your
let's
final predictions.
okay, who do you want to start with? Rhonda and Pat?
Sure.
It's a no.
I think it's going to be a yes. On decision day?
Yeah, decision day.
Yeah, I think so
Okay.
much has happened and she's lost so much in the last few days that he's going to be some type of comfort for her. So I
So
think she's
she'll
going
say
to say
yes.
yes. And I don't think he's moved past his people pleasing and he really wants a relationship.
So he
I
could
could
say
see them being
yes.
a yes. Okay, so
Whew,
yes from me,
okay.
no from you. Jalen and Josh,
I'm gonna say yes.
I think they'll be a yes. I don't have
Yes.
any reason, but
I don't think they're gonna work long term, but it's going to be a yes.
I honestly hope they don't. It just doesn't seem right.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Belinda and Chad?
I think Chad would be a yes. And I think Belinda will be a yes. I'll
Okay.
share my thoughts once we finish recording as to why.
Share with the group
Hmm.
chat.
Nope.
Okay, but yeah, I think Chad's going to be a yes. Belinda's my question mark.
I could see it being a question mark. Megan and Derek, two yeses.
Yeah, they'll
They
say
need to
yes.
be a yes. Y'all done jumped the gun. So
They'll be. I hope all goes well for them.
yeah.
That's all I'll say.
And
And
then
then
Brittany and Will,
Brittany and
it's a
Will.
no for right now.
I'm gonna stick beside my little theory. I've been wrong before. What's being wrong one more
The
time?
way she better stand on business after this man already told her no.
I don't think she
Anyways,
will. She's going to think about the times he fought for them. And I just know this is how people work. And I hate it, but this is how people work, Miosha. I'm telling you.
I hope you wrong.
I do too, but I don't. Okay. Y'all let us know in the
Anyways,
comments. We'll see y'all after the reunion. We're getting reunion and decision day next week.
okay.
So
All right.
we'll see y'all then. Bye.
Bye.